minute. I have a voice that's coming from over here. No, I don't want to buy that. Okay. It's I said the A word. The A,
Oh,
and I have two tablets in back. And all of a sudden I heard, "Would you like to buy this?" I'm like, "No."
what?
What? What are you talking about? I
Oh,
was
no.
like, all of a sudden I hear these voices. I'm like, Kyle, is that you, Kyle? That's just crazy. Okay, all right, I'm back. I'm back now. Hopefully she won't talk in the background. Welcome everybody to another episode of Marvel at the Movies. I'm Doug. We have Kyle here. Kyle, how are you tonight?
Not too bad, Doug. Not too bad. Just another Tuesday night in the books. How about you? How's everything going with you?
Things are going pretty well, pretty well. Very excited about this episode. This
Yeah.
episode is going to be really wow. I don't know how to explain this episode except there's one word that comes to mind. It's just
Yeah.
going to be awesome. And we have a sponsor that we're going to talk about, and that is Zyman Organizing. So Robbie, I mean Kyle. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Feeling overwhelmed with a room, cabinet, drawer that needs to be organized? Contact Zyman Organizing. They will work with you to create and organize the space that you have and make it serene and a great place to be in. Just remember, Zyman Organizing, creating a stress-free home. Thank you for Zyman Organizing to sponsoring our show for this week and many weeks to come and many past weeks too. So tonight we're going to be talking about space movies and TV. I'm so excited about this. So Kyle, what started this whole thing was Sunday. This past Sunday, I just started watching TV. I was kind of flipping back and forth with football games and TV and stuff like that. And on, I think it was Ovation or TNT or one of those cable network things, I noticed that Star Wars was on. And I was like, cool, let me just sit back and watch these. And then my wife joined me and then we started watching all these Star Wars movies up until like the evening. And I was like, wow, wouldn't this be a great idea to talk about space movies and TV?
hmm
That'd be really cool. I kind of grew up on this stuff. Think
Oh,
about it.
same here. Same here.
Absolutely. So, so my first experience with kind of space movies has been starting with Star Trek, because um, Star Trek started, and I'll talk about that first. Star Trek started its TV series September 8th, 1966. Um, and I won't tell you when I was born, but not around that time. Yeah, kind of around that time, but I won't tell you. But then what happened was that you started to, as you became a teenager, as I became a teenager, there were that TV show was just so popular. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved the action. Um, I don't know if you had watched them in reruns or you had watched them before. Um, did you watch Star Trek the TV show as growing up, or was it
Well, yeah. I
more or
didn't.
less just the reruns? Or
Yeah, mostly just kind of reruns. So I didn't really watch the William Shatner ones as much. I think I may have caught like maybe like an episode or two before, but really not that much at all. The ones I did watch though more were The Next Generation, because growing up, I know my parents, well, mainly my mom, I should say, was a huge, huge Star Trek Next Generation fan. Like she would just watch that show religiously. And I just remember, there would be times where I'd sit in and I just remember the whole cast and crew of that, like I love Worf and of course Jean-Luc Picard. Like he was just such a great like, and Patrick Stewart playing him, that was like his definitive role for a while, before he got into like even X-Men and those movies. And it was just that show really was one of the very first shows I started watching, for so.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And again, Star Trek Next Generation came out September 28th of 1987. So it kind of makes more sense. Again, I think I saw most of mine, and I did watch that also. And then they came out with Star Trek Deep Six Nine. They came out with that also, and that was January of 1993. I guess trying to continue a lot of the TV and a lot of trying to continue the series as much as possible on TV. I wasn't as attracted to Deep Space Nine as I was attracted to the Next Generation or the original Star Trek, which at that point was on rerun. You could pretty much get it, reruns on pretty much any station was probably playing Star Trek at that time, knowing its popularity. And you had the regular characters and that kind of thing. Had Kirk and William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelly, just the regular kind of characters that were on there. When I look at it now, as opposed to when I looked at it not when it first came out, but as I watched it as a younger person, I noticed that it was really different. I noticed that I was able to kind of predict what was going on now, and not because I watched it 40,000 times, watched every episode 40,000 times. It was more because you kind of knew what was happening. One thing I noticed is one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to get onto a Star Trek episode and wear a red shirt. If you wear a red shirt, you're kind of like security. And if you wear a red shirt and typically they brought one or two guys down to a planet, if you did that, those guys are getting killed. You're getting like killed off the show like immediately. So if back then, if you wanted to get into the series and they said, well, you're going to be wearing a red shirt, and they handed you a red shirt, you knew you were in trouble. Because you were either in engineering or you were in security. I think Scotty wore a red shirt during the show. But I always thought that, you see them just about to beam down to a planet, and you see Captain Kirk, you see Leonard Nimoy, you see DeForest Kelly, and then all of a sudden you see the two red shirts. And then you know they're not coming back. So it's one of those things where it's probably better that you kind of get off that beam, so you can continue with the series. I just thought that was really very funny. But I just thought if you watch it, obviously the Star Trek TV show is classic. It's classic Star Trek. You have the Romulans, you have the Klingons, you have, other groups that are out there. What it really was for people who've never watched it, and I can't imagine anybody that's never watched it, is this is based on the future, and it's based on going into the galaxy, finding different places. And sometimes they use science, sometimes they use medical, and they came up with there were different creatures that they came up with. One of my favorite episodes is the Tribbles. Is a Tribble episode. It's got these like little furry animals that come onto the ship, and then they start multiplying. They didn't grow; they just multiplied, so they were about this small. But they started to multiply, and then you saw them everywhere on the ship. They were very, very cute too, because they would make these little sounds, and everybody really loved them. But they turned out to be more of a evil kind of situation than anything else. So again, you have robots beaming onto the ship. Oh, let's put this guy on the ship, and then all of a sudden he tries to take the ship up. So that's kind of what the basis of the Star Trek series is. If you haven't seen it, you got to go out there and see it, guys, because it's you might think it's funny at first. You'll know right away if you're in a red shirt, you're in trouble. But you'll know really quickly that this is something that started out this whole series, not just TV, but then moving to movies. And so the first movie was Star Trek: The Motion Picture, started in 1979.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had The Wrath of Khan, which was the second movie, 1982. Then we had The Search for Spock, which, by the way, is my favorite. I love The Search for Spock, is my favorite one. It's just interesting. You have to see these movies, guys. You have to see these movies. I think Kyle and I may talk about them for a few minutes, but I don't want to bring up too much stuff because if you watch them, they're just great. That was in 84. Then The Voyage Home was in 86. The Final Frontier was in 1989. And, of course, The Undiscovered Country in 1991. So those are kind of, you got to go out and see these movies. They're great. Kyle, what did you think of these? I'm assuming you saw some of these, or most of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little behind on the Star Trek movies. I've been meaning to watch a
No,
lot.
that's fine. That's fine.
The most of what I remember is I remember seeing like scenes from The Wrath of Khan. I remember a lot of people.
Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I love
He
him.
was Khan, and he was in, speaking of TV and movies, he was in Fantasy Island
Oh, that's
in
right.
the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
The original, not the one that they just made. The Fantasy Island from 2015, whatever that is.
Yeah. I think he was also in like one of the Naked Gun movies too. I think he was actually in the first one, right? Was
Yes,
he like,
yes, I think he was. Yes, you're right. Yep.
He's such a great actor.
Yes, it was awesome.
I remember like I think that movie I remember like just when you talk about all those like older or at least like the Star Trek movies with the original cast, I should say. Like I feel like that one was the one that really struck the chord the most with people was The Wrath of Khan, and definitely seeing it, you could see why because they really pushed the, at least from what I saw, like they really pushed the drama and they really pushed. There was this like kind of they really built up this villain, this like really interesting, like he wasn't just like a two-dimensional like cut out of a villain. Like he had reasons and that he was doing the way what he was doing. And I thought that was really interesting because that was kind of, it came out right around the time where Star Wars came out, and Star Wars also had some very good villains obviously too, especially with Darth Vader. That's obviously everyone's favorite, and we'll get into that more. But
yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah,
that's our favorite subject. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but so I was going to ask a question about that because unfortunately I'm a little behind on the original cast Star Trek movies. I've mostly seen the newer ones, like the Next Generation one. I think I just did it based on like which ones I followed.
Yes.
Although I did end up seeing the one where it's like that crossover movie. I think it was Generations, where they introduced like the old cat or the original cast with the new cast, the Next Generation cast, essentially.
Loved that.
Yeah.
Love that movie. That was a great movie. I'm glad they did that.
I haven't seen a movie in so long, but I remember watching it. I was just like, whoa, this is pretty wild. Like they had Malcolm McDowell, I remember, as like the villain of it.
Yeah.
Like time travel. I think it was like a time travel movie too. Or no,
yeah, it was a little bit of time travel in there too, yeah.
Okay. Or also First Contact, that was the major time travel movie when they had to like when they went back, and James Cromwell was that was a great movie too. That if I had to pick out of all the Star Trek movies, at least that I've seen, I am a huge fan of First Contact. I love First Contact. Like that to me was this like definitive Star Trek movie. But I mean, I'll probably change my mind once I see once I fully maybe watch the other ones, and I'm sure.
Well, the other ones are obviously they're classics. They're great. I think that what it comes down to is I think what they did with Wrath of Khan is that Khan has a history.
Mm-hmm.
Khan has a history with Captain Kirk. And because there's a history there, there's hatred. And it's just great how they build up that hatred. Um, it totally makes sense. But it also makes sense in the later movies. Because if you think about it, when you're talking about some of the later movies, you're talking about, Captain Kirk finds out he has a son, and his son gets killed. I don't want to bring up too much of that because I obviously want people to watch the movies. It's one of those things where it's all about the Genesis project, and you have to watch these movies to figure out what the Genesis project is. It's about making like an Earth out of a planet that's nothing. And again, Spock is, but I think what it comes down to is that there's a history between this particular, not just Khan, but the species that is Khan. Captain Kirk is never trusted. Never trusted. That also comes with those movies, figuring out what those Searcher Spock, the Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan especially is the one where I think people should watch because then you understand, you get it. You kind of understand where it's coming from. Obviously, the motion picture is the first one, so I would start with that one, obviously. But if you start with Wrath of Khan, you'd be fine. And you get that, you figure out, oh, now I know why. Now I know why he's so angry with everything and stuff like that. And then the Search for Spock also gives you. But these again are so classic. So there are Trekkies out there that wear the pins and dress up for Comic-Con and all kinds of different things, and it's great. I consider myself to be a Trekkie, but not to that level, not to that level of in my actions. That's not what I do, but I do love watching the movies over and over again because they're like really.
So actually, I was going to ask you about the movies. Like, so what I've been hearing, and I can't comment this on myself because obviously I haven't watched all of them, and I can't really speak for like this particular opinion. But I've heard this reoccurring opinion on the movies themselves, and people say, I've heard people kind of, I think just online and just in general say, they said the even numbered movies are the better ones and the odd numbered movies are the worst ones. And I was going to ask you what you thought of that.
That's kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, I've heard this like actually a number of times, and I just wanted to see if you had that.
So the even numbers are the good movies.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I really believe in that because I think The Search for Spock is a great movie.
That's what I heard too. Like I heard that one was actually very underrated.
That's number 3.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's very underrated. I really do because that really sets you up for the next 3 movies.
Okay.
It super sets you up for the next 3 movies. The Voyage Home was very good. I know I watched most of these movies in the theater with my brothers. I know I watched the motion picture, The Wrath of Khan, and Search for Spock. I watched all in the movie theater with my brothers because my brothers were Trekkies. My brother had my older brother had a couple. Jeff had a few posters of Star Trek posters, which is pretty cool. And I think he made a model of the Enterprise.
Oh, very
and
cool.
hung it from the ceiling. Which is really cool. Yeah, awesome. It was very cool. Very cool. There are some sad moments, and because there's some sad moments, it's like, as somebody who's been watching it for quite a long time, those moments are like, oh no, 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 don't do that.
Yeah.
Those kinds of moments. Um, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Um, I mean, just looking at them. I mean, the search for Spock is Spock. Sorry, search. I can speak. The Search for Spock is number 3, and I think that's a very underrated movie. I think it's a good solid movie.
Okay.
And it does bring you to that. But that's an interesting concept how they think the odd movies are the bad ones and the ones the good ones. Um,
Yeah.
the Final Frontier is actually, I think it's more of a sad movie. I mean, in some parts, as opposed to a bad movie. I don't think it's bad.
Okay.
It is a little sad in some parts, and of course, the Undiscovered Country is where I think they get all together. I think that's the one where Jean-Luc Picard meets Captain Kirk.
No,
I think.
I think that was Generations.
Oh, that was Generations. I'm sorry, Generations. That's right. Generations. You're absolutely right. I forgot one of the. I forgot one of those movies on my list. But yes, that was Generations, and we did watch that over the weekend. And I just did not put that down there. But the Undiscovered Country is also, it's pretty good. Not as good as Generations. I thought the fact that they put Generations together was awesome. Put the two cast together was just fantastic.
That's so cool, yeah.
And again, classic, absolute classic stuff. When you're talking about classic stuff, I would like to kind of switch over to one of your favorites, and I know this is one of your favorites, is Star Wars. Star Wars is I don't know. It's so interesting how they started out. I mean, obviously, the first movie was called it's called A New Hope. Basically, that's kind of how they said it. Some people just call it Star Wars, but it did have the New Hope in it. It was out in 1977, so I did see that movie in the theaters, and then Empire Strikes Back, obviously, and then Return of the Jedi. Those are the 3 that I started. Absolutely, you want a movie that's going to give you pretty much everything. Everything from bad guy, Darth Vader, good guy, Luke Skywalker, trying to figure out what is going on and what's happening. Well, he's the bad guy. And just trying to figure out kind of where the story's going to go in the next one. The classic beginning of Star Wars where you see the sky and then you see the writing come up. It comes up and it comes up and it comes up, starts scrolling across. That is the classic Star Wars kind of creativity that they've always had. I wanted to ask you right up front, and I actually put together some Star Wars trivia for you. Also, I wanted to ask you: Do you have a favorite Star Wars? I'm assuming you saw most of them because there are a lot of them. They're out. They're out. I kind of have them listed here, but there are a ton of them. And from what I'm hearing, they're still making them. Except some of the cast members may not be coming back. Considering Leia, obviously the actress that plays Leia has passed away, so she's obviously not coming back. But it's one of those things. Do you have a favorite?
So it's funny because I have kind of 2 different answers. So whenever I think of in my opinion, the best. Well, so I have in my mind the best. What I think is the best Star Wars movie, and then I just have my personal favorite.
That would be perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's a better question.
So, because it's just for me, these 2 movies I love both of them, but for different reasons, I guess you could say. I think technically the best movie, just the movie that's to me that just floors me every time I watch it. The movie that just is the best made is Empire Strikes Back. As good as the first Star Wars movie was, the story, I don't think, the story I feel like has been done a lot of times ever since that movie came out. And that's not that's not a criticism to that movie or anything. It's just, Empire Strikes Back kind of like took what that movie had and they just like jettisoned it like into like the stratosphere. It just like took that story, that concept, that setup, and they were like, all right, we're gonna mess with people. I feel like in The Empire Strikes Back, we're gonna throw them for a loop. We're gonna throw this crazy twist. It's like one of the most famous movie twists of all time. And if you don't know what it is, you've been living under a rock, because it's like one of the best twists you could ever watch in a movie series. And I think for that reason, and for the way they've improved on the effects and everything, like the space battles look even better in this movie. Just everything looks very sharp, and Darth Vader's even more evil this time around. And I just think that movie is like, in my eyes, the perfect Star Wars movie. I think it's the best movie. I don't think any movie will ever beat that movie. So that's kind of where I stand with that one. And it's a movie I've grown to love over time. When I saw it as a kid, it was my least favorite Star Wars movie, mostly because of how kind of darker it got compared to the other ones. And also,
yeah, it was pretty dark.
Right?
It was pretty dark. Yeah, it was pretty dark.
Yeah, as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is too scary. Darth Vader can't win in the end. Like, what's going on here? And I wasn't used to seeing that kind of
not like The Shining dark, but it was dark. It was pretty dark.
Yeah. Like dark for a movie of that type,
of that caliber, of that make, of the way they made it. So, what was and the other one was the best one you thought was the best?
So the other one was my favorite. So
right,
the one that I always hold close to my heart. I'm not going to say it's the best of the bunch, but I just have such a personal attachment to it, mainly because also I played the video game. So this is kind of how I got into
that
Star
helps.
Wars. Yeah. was the video game. I think I talked about this in the last episode. I kind of went over a little bit. So I'm sure you guys know at this point, I'm a huge gamer. I love playing games, new and old, especially old. I love going back to some of the older games. And growing up, I would play the Return of the Jedi Super Nintendo. It was called Super Star Wars. That was what the series was called. It was called Super Star Wars, and they had all three of the original movies on cartridge. And you can on their own cartridge, on separate cartridges, but you were able to play through the entire movies, all of them. And Super Return of the Jedi was my childhood. I loved that game so much. And it was just great. It was just a great side scroller. That game changed pretty much changed my life. And it really introduced me to what Star Wars was. So, you can imagine my excitement when I saw Return of the Jedi in theaters. I had seen the other ones and I had kind of recognized certain aspects of them. But then when I saw Return of the Jedi in theaters, it had been my favorite Star Wars movie for a long time when I was a kid. Like I was always like, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll watch the first one, I'll watch the second one. But then I was like, Return of the Jedi, this is what I'm here for. This is what I want to see. And because I always like seeing Luke, being the good guy, win in the end, and all that stuff. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Kick some butt.
Yeah, and he's way cooler in this one. I think Return of the Jedi had the best version of Luke, because the other movies you could see he was developing. He kind of started off a little whiny, a little bit.
So he was like a kid, almost like a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think he was an adult, but he acted like a guy. He acted like a kid, a little bit. Yeah, I could say maybe not like a kid, maybe immature.
Oh yeah, very immature.
Maybe immature. That's more like it. Is immaturity and just not necessarily making the right decisions.
And you
need a little help.
Oh yeah. It was like, because like in the first one, you saw him like, he was just kind of thrown into everything, and I feel like he was trying to collect himself. The second movie, he got a little cocky, because I feel like that's when he kind of realized, oh, I'm a Jedi now. Ooh, look what I can do. And that's what kind of ended up being leading to his downfall at the end, was because he's like, no, I got this. I'm going to save the day. Don't worry about it. I did in the first movie. I'm going to do it again. And you find out, oh, that's no, that's not what happens. He does not save the day, and I
Right,
love seeing
right.
kind of like that transition. And by the time it's Return of the Jedi, he's like, all right, he has his act together. He's got like the black cloak and everything. It is so cool. I love seeing that version of Luke too. That's another reason why it's definitely my favorite movie. Like there's just a lot of really great developments. I thought there were a lot of great payoffs. And yeah, I know people are complaining about the Ewoks and stuff like that. I get it. I get it. I know they say the third movie is definitely the most kiddish out of all of them, I guess, because of the Ewoks. But I had no problem with
I
it.
love the Ewoks.
Right?
I
Exactly.
love the Ewoks. I got upset when some of them got killed. I mean, they
Yeah.
were just. I love the Ewoks. I love the Ewok concept.
Yeah.
Ewok
No,
concept is like when you first get introduced to them, you're
mhm.
like, oh, they're fuzzy, they're cute, they're like a teddy bear. But then when you see them start like attacking, they're really smart, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, let's put this rope around and just knock over this big, huge, machinery that's shooting at them, and of course they come up with these, they have these bows and arrows, and they have all these kinds of things that I mean, they're really, really like smart creatures, but you don't see them as that when you first meet them.
Yeah, right.
And I think they're freaking great. I think what it was is, and maybe I'm wrong, I think it was when you first see them, you're like, wait a minute, what the heck? Why did they put these in here? But then you think about it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to lighten it up a little bit because they probably know that there's going to be a whole bunch of kids. I watched Star Wars as a kid.
Yeah.
As a kid, I
Like,
was not quite a teenager yet. Was I? No, I wasn't. I wasn't. When the first Star Wars movie came out, 1977, I wasn't quite a teenager yet. So it's one of those things there, but if you go see it, you can go see that movie at a young age, not 5, but you can go see that movie when you're probably 10 or 11, maybe 12.
yeah.
And I think it'll be fine. But that's the thing. I think that's probably what they were thinking about is what audience are we targeting?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I think that's kind of what they were thinking about. But we look at it. My wife and I just watched it just recently, and we were like, "Oh, they're so cute," and they were like, "Oh, they're so creative." and trying to, I'll help you. I'll help you. Although they didn't know if like Luke and Leia were, at least Luke anyway, whether Luke was like a friend or foe. They didn't quite know that up front. If you
Okay.
remember, if you remember, they didn't quite know that. But once they figured it out, they were helping. So again, that's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just I think you're absolutely right though. But I think they were targeting a certain audience at that time. And I
Mhm.
think to put something like that in there that looks like a teddy bear doesn't look scary. It's not a scare. It's not like a Furby. It's not like a scary. By the way, I have a Furby right back there. It's not like a Furby. It's certainly not like a Furby, but it kind of looks like a Furby. If you
Yeah,
really
yeah, it
think
really
about it,
does.
I mean, it's
Like a
kind of
teddy
like
bear.
like this, a little bit of a scary teddy bear. So it kind of makes sense. IMBD put out their worst to best in
Oh,
the
okay.
Star Wars movies. And we talked about this in pregame, and you said you're really interested in this list. So let me tell you what IMBD, again, this is the worst, and I don't agree with this list, but I just want to tell
Okay.
you right up front. Because
Interesting.
one of my favorite, you're right, one of my favorite movies, one that I think is the best Star Wars movie, even till today.
Hmm.
And there's some variation. I think the best movie is Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Absolutely, without even mentioning anything else. And I totally agree with you with that. I think that really that particular movie has a ton of action. It opens everything up.
Hmm.
You get to really figure out and know and understand what's going on in that movie. And I think that's, and again, super dark,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to be. So I
Mhm.
think they did a really great job with that. So this is the IMBD. This is the worst to best. So I would say, I guess we're talking the worst movies up in front, and the last movies are the best movies. And I don't agree with it. So the first movie that they have is Empire Strikes Back, which doesn't make
Oh,
any
the best.
sense. I'm like, they're out of there. No, this is worst to best. So they're saying that that's one of the worst movies. I'm like,
What?
what?
The
That doesn't,
Empire Strikes Back?
that's that. I'm just telling you what their list is. This is not my list. This is IMDb's list. It said specifically worst to best. Okay, so I'm just telling you. The
Okay.
second one is A New Hope. Now you'll understand this when I tell you what they think is the best movies. And there's probably a reason. The third is The Last Jedi in 2017. The next one is The Force Awakens in 2015. The next one is Rogue One, 2016. Next one is Return of the Jedi. That would be 1983. Next one is Revenge of the Sith, 2005. The next one is The Attack of the Clones, 2002. Um, the next one is Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, 2019. And then the last one, which they think is the best one,
Oh,
is Solo. If I can read my writing, A Star Wars Story, 2018. So what I think IMBD is doing is they're looking at the ones that were just made recently, and they're saying that they're better movies than the older ones.
that's
I
weird.
don't agree with it. Do you agree with that? I don't agree with that.
Oh, 100% not. No. No, believe me, my worst to best movie that's a very different list than that one.
Yeah, it's just interesting because you notice that the last one, two, three, the last three movies
Are you sure you're
are
reading the
movies
right
that,
order?
yeah, I am. I put it in. I made sure that I put it in the right order.
Not sorry. It just like baffles me because that to me sounds like the best to worst.
It it really does. But again, I'm pretty sure, and I'll recheck it for everybody next time, and I'll make sure that I'll recheck this.
Huh.
But I'm pretty sure I made sure that it was, and they said specifically these are the worst to best. And I was like, worst to best? Don't they usually do best to worst? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And then
that's
I wrote them down very carefully, and I did check it. But I will check it for next time for our next show. But that's what IMBD. I don't agree with it at
nope.
all. So those are not on my list at all. Um, this list is totally reversed from as far as I'm concerned. Excuse me. But again, I think and again, I will check that to make sure. But I'm pretty sure I made sure that it was.
Hmm. It could be the list fault too, because sometimes maybe they said worst to best, but maybe they actually meant like best to worst or something like that. I don't know.
Right, exactly. But what I did was I compiled 5 questions,
Okay.
and they're really easy. Some of them are easy. Um, 5 questions, 5 Star Wars trivia questions. So for you, Kyle. So
All
the
right.
first one is, what is the name? Oh, this is a toughie for you. What is the name of the first 3 Star Wars movies?
In chronological or in year of
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just says that. It doesn't say
the
chronological
first three
order.
Star Wars? Well, okay, so I'll give you two different answers because the years of I'll do it release years. Star Wars or Star Wars: A New Hope, depending on how you want to title that one. Um, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, or if you want to do chronological, Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So there we go.
Right. And I'm going to tell you what confused me because I wanted my daughter to see these movies. And I'm going to tell you after we do this what my problem was. So the next question is, what was the last Star Wars movie? The last one.
The last one was The Rise of Skywalker, I believe.
Correct. I have Star Wars 9, The Last Skywalker Saga.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I have. But yeah, that's what it said. I'm
The
assuming
Last
that
Skywalker saga. Okay. All right.
Star Wars 9.
Star Wars 9. I mean, technically, yeah, you're right. Episode 9, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, and that's just what it says. I mean, that's what the answer said. So I just wrote down the answer.
Star Wars 9. That's funny.
So this is a little bit more of a difficult question. What was the top grossing Star Wars movie? It's a little bit more difficult because they
Out of all of
grossed
them?
a lot of money. Yeah, out of all of them.
Phantom Menace.
Correct. Wow. $983.6 million.
Because it was a lot of, that movie had a lot of hype behind it, because after the trilogy, I remember, like, I even remember this, like, people were making such a big deal when that movie came out. Like, I remember seeing all the teasers, the trailers, everything, because that came out in like 1999.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing all like and like it was just such a big deal. Like, people were just like ranting and raving about it. They were just like, "Oh, look at the Star Wars movie! We haven't had one in like
Right.
10,000 years."
Yes, absolutely. So the next one I have, we've already answered. So how many Star Wars movies were there total? And we've already answered that because the number. So we already mentioned. That's all set. This is a non-Star Wars question. This is a question that I'm not sure if we should like answer on air, or maybe we can, and we'll make it figure it out.
Okay.
But we talked about this in pregame. What is the most profitable movie of all time as of at least 2020? That's what it says. Now, do you want to answer it, or do you want to have it? You can answer it if you want. But
I think I know the answer to it.
If you want to answer it, that's fine.
Are you sure? Do you want to leave?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's fine. It's fine with me. We can think. Fine with me. If you know the answer, then go for it. It's
all right.
Fine with me. We're all good with this. I'm up to anything, so it's all good.
So the most profitable movie. So you mean like based on like theater box office returns, or just like in general?
I think they're talking about theater box office, but they're also talking about popularity. But I think they're talking mostly about the
Okay, like when it came out, Avengers Endgame.
Not a bad guess, but that's not what I have here.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I was either going to say Avengers Endgame or Avatar.
The second answer is correct.
Well, oh, okay. It's still Avatar.
It's Avatar.
I thought Avengers Endgame beat it, but I remember for a while Avatar was.
Yep,
Oh.
It's Avatar. And this is not counting, they said specifically, like underneath the answer, this is not counting DVD, Blu-ray, or any other sales that goes along with it. So it's not even counting all the Blu-ray money and all the DVD money and all that kind of stuff. So, and they didn't even put down a number on it. They just told me what the answer was. So I could just imagine what that is. So this is the conflict I had. And we don't like to have too many conflicts on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, it's exciting. So the conflict I had, especially, with trying to figure things out, was the conflict I had was I wanted my daughter to see these movies. My daughter was born in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue I had was that by the time she was old enough to watch these movies, a lot of these movies were already out.
Yeah.
The Star Wars stuff was already out.
Oh, at that point, like pretty much all the prequels were out at that point, right? Like,
yeah.
Or at least most
because
of them.
By the time, so she was born in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time she was 10, 11, 12 years old, or talking
Oh, okay.
10 years later. So most of them were already out, correct? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So my problem is what do I start with?
Oh, I know the answer to that.
How do I start? Do I start with the prequels because that will develop the story and then go into the other ones? Or do I start with the ones that I saw and then go to the prequels? Well, we made a decision.
Oh,
Yeah, we made a decision. She
okay.
hasn't seen. She saw. I I believe she saw the first one. She hasn't seen the second or third one yet that I know of.
You
I'm not
mean
sure.
you mean A New Hope?
We saw A New Hope, yes,
Okay.
but that's where I decided to start with the movies I started with, the movies I saw first. Um, because I think it's I don't know. I just thought it was important. That's how I started. That's kind of how we made this. My wife and I made that decision. But that was a really like push and pull. It was like, how do I start this for her? What's the best way to do this? And of course, she's had me watch the Marvel movies in the order that she watched.
Yeah.
So, and again, just finished Loki. She won't let us watch. Going back to Marvel for a minute, she won't let us watch Black Widow because she wants to watch it when she comes in for Thanksgiving with
Okay.
us. With us, she said, "Well, it will be off the pay thing for Disney or whatever, so we could probably watch it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So we haven't. We've been plutzing to watch. We've been so much looking forward to watching Black Widow, but she wants to watch it with us, so we're kind of holding
Okay.
on. But we did finish Loki, which was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But we were trying to figure out where do we start?
I think you guys made the right decision. That's
Yeah,
actually I think what I would have done too, because
yeah.
if you think about it, A New Hope just kind of like puts it just kind of gently places you into the universe. And you don't I don't think you have to see the prequels in order to understand, the original trilogy. I think those
I
movies
agree with
stand
that.
very well on their own. The
Yeah.
prequels are just kind of like an addition. They kind of like they do flesh out, the character, like Obi-Wan and like, Anakin Skywalker and all that stuff. But I think it's best to see the original trilogy first because then you'll be robbed of the twists of the mid, of The Empire Strikes Back because if you had already seen the prequels, you'll already go into the original trilogy knowing, oh, well, Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. You knew that from the beginning.
Right.
And I think there's just certain plot points of the stories and stuff that you'll just be like, oh yeah, I knew that the whole time. And so I think you did the smart decision. I think that was definitely the best way to do it. But I still think you can watch, like, I think once you have watched all the movies, I think it is kind of fun also to go back once you kind of know how the whole story plays out. It
Go
gives you,
back and rewatch.
yeah, if you do like a
Yeah.
rewatch, then you can start at episode one and do
And
like,
they're like, oh, now I get it. Now I
yeah.
understand. Yeah,
But
no, that's totally true. Yeah.
that's just my take on it though. But yeah,
But I'll tell you right up front, my daughter's very much into Marvel, and as soon as she got into Marvel and all the the fighting and the action and stuff like that, I said, okay, let's watch Star Wars. Not quite into Star Wars at this time.
okay,
Trying to get her into it. We, I would like to. We have them. We
yeah,
have them on DVD or Blu-ray, either one. I would like her to watch them because I think they're great, and I think
yeah,
obviously she's Marvel, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, no, it was kind of a little bit of a conflict, but we were like, I mean, I started with the three movies a long time ago. Why can't she start with them too? It makes sense. And then rewatching them is a great idea.
yeah.
Great idea. Speaking of rewatching, I'm going to fly right over to Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Just wanted to talk about this for a few minutes. So, anybody that doesn't know about what Battlestar Galactica is. And I'm not talking about the 2000 and whatever, the latest version of Battlestar Galactica, which I have not watched. I'll tell you right up front, I have not watched it. I have personally not seen really good reviews about it, so I don't know. I haven't watched it, so maybe somebody can comment. If you've watched the new Battlestar Galactica, please comment in the comments for us and tell us what you think, because I haven't watched it.
Either.
It's almost like a refusal to watch something like that.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I feel like it's like that with a lot of those show revivals, because even like, I was talking with this to my roommates, and even like the CW is reviving like these these completely random shows too, not even shows that like, they started with like Charmed, and okay, Charmed was on the CW, and I think they but then they also revived Legends of the Hidden Temple, which was previously a Nickelodeon game show, but they revived it. I don't understand, but okay, yeah, it's there. So, so
it's just like reviving. I think just recently they tried to revive Fantasy Island from the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
I won't watch it. I won't watch it.
No.
I won't watch it. You can't do that. They tried to revive Love Boat, I think, in the 90s with Robert Urich as the captain. I did watch that because I love Robert Urich because he was here in Boston filming his show. I don't know what the name was, but can't remember the show name. But it's one of those things where, Charlie's Angels became a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Starsky and Hutch became a movie I refuse to watch. It has nothing to do with the cast. You just can't. When you watch Starsky and Hutch, the old Starsky and Hutches from the TV show, I mean, to make it into a movie, really?
Like Dukes of Hazards too, right? They try to do the same.
Dukes of Hazards. Oh, that was the worst. That was the worst. I couldn't do it. I can't watch these. I just can't do it.
Yeah,
can't do it. So if anybody doesn't know what this is about, Battlestar Galactica is set in a faraway galaxy where humans live in a peaceful and civilized utopia of planetary systems named the 12 colonies of Cobalt. Now, these people started to make cyborgs, and the cyborgs were supposed to be helpful in doing different things. And it turns out that the cyborg creations declared war on the humans.
Ooh.
In an attempt to wipe them out. So if you didn't really know what it was about, that's basically what Battlestar Galactica was about. Now, my wife watched the Battlestar Galactica because she was interested in one of the actors when she was about 12, 13 years old, whatever. First of all, it came out, she was actually 11. 11. Yep. She was 11 years old. Came out September 17, 1978. She was in, so it was basically put together by a director named Glenn A. Larson. Glenn A. Larson did a lot of the shows back then. Quincy, Emergency, a lot of those 70 shows were Glenn A. Larson shows. The star was Richard Hatch, and it had the lovely and talented Dirk Benedict. And he was the one that my wife just wanted to watch every week, which makes sense. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. I actually just recently I got her it was a program. I'll bring it on next time. I'll try to. It's actually a program from not like Comic-Con, but it's some kind of it's a magazine, and it's a very small magazine, but it's a magazine of like not just IT, but it has all kinds of different computer stuff. It's like a computer kind of magazine or something like that. Well, Dirk Benedict signed it, and I actually got her a signed copy because it gives a little synopsis of Battlestar Galactica in like there's an article about it in there, but Dirk signed it. So I got her that magazine. Of course, it's in my stuff and not in her stuff, but that's okay. That's all right. That's all good. But I don't know whether you watched the series or not. Whether you watched the new series, did you watch the older series at all, Kyle, or did you?
No, I'm unfortunately I'm not very familiar with the Battlestar Galactica universe.
Oh, that's okay. No, it's a crazy, absolutely crazy universe. If you can find any of them on YouTube or anything like that, it's crazy. But because it's from the late 70s, early 80s, it's not put together very well. You can tell. It's kind of fractured when it comes to when they show the spaceship. It looks like it's being held up by wires. I mean, it's really like the technology is supposed to be, I think, the 21st century, but I'm not really sure. It's supposed to be, I think, 2151, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, what they thought in the 70s, the 2151 would look like. It's technically not good. Not good at all. I mean, visually, not really that great. Now I know why they looked at the actors. Because everything else was a little shady. So it totally makes sense. But I mean, it definitely makes sense. But I mean, a lot of people watched it because they watched it to see what they could come up with. It was like the Star Trek of the time or the Star Wars of the time.
Yeah.
You see these space movies, and some of them are great, terrible, and they look horrible too. And it's like, these fight scenes where you could tell that they were very, very choreographed. It was just, you want to see something pretty funny, like wasn't really pre Star Wars. Star Wars came out in 77, but
Yeah.
and Star Trek, the TV series, came out in 66. So it's not really pre, but I think somebody trying to get together to make another space movie or a space TV show, I would watch it just for the cult of it.
Yeah.
I guess I should say. There is a following. I'm not a follower, but there is a following. I have watched it. It's nothing like Star Wars. It's nothing like Star Trek. And it's certainly nothing like the movie Spaceballs, which is exactly what I want to talk about next. What is your first thoughts when I say the word Spaceballs?
Oh my God, Dark Helmet, Rick Moranis.
Dark Helmet. That's right. Absolutely. So this is a movie. This is so cool. You know what they called this movie? This is not a trivia question. This is an actual question. I don't know. I've never heard it called this before. This is what they called it. You know how they say action adventure or comedy? Do you know what they called Spaceball movie?
But like the original title, you mean?
Yeah. What genre of movie it is?
Oh, I don't know, sci-fi comedy or
That's a good guess. But no, they must have made a new section. It's called Space Opera Parody.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. No, that's pretty
It makes total sense. So this movie came out June 24th, 1987. And it was directed by Mel Brooks, also starred Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is from the old History of the World Part 1 and Part 2. God goes up, he's got 15 commandments. I have 15 commandments. And all of a sudden he drops one and breaks it. He says, oh, no. I have 10 commandments. It's just one of the best scenes. That's history of the world. That's not Spaceballs, but that's Mel Brooks' humor. So it's Mel Brooks, John Candy, Rick Moranis, who was absolutely fabulous. John Candy, God rest his soul, very, very funny guy. Bill Pullman, who's also also quite funny. Daphne Zuniga, who I'll tell you about in a few minutes, and Dick Van Patten, who was actually plays King, her father, right? The king, I guess, because she sees the princess. And Dick Van Patten was on a TV show called Eight Is Enough in the 70s that I watched. Nobody's going to know that unless my brother is watching. And if my brother's watching, he will know that. So this is a star pilot for hire. And his trusty sidekick, you know who the sidekick is? Sidekick must come to the rescue of the princess and save planet Druidia. From what is it called?
I think it's called Druidia.
Druidia. From the clutches of the evil Spaceballs. So this was everybody's got to see this movie. This movie is a classic, awesome Sunday afternoon. It's raining. I'm depressed. I'm about to get my beer or my scotch. I'll just sit down and watch absolutely nothing. What can I watch? But Spaceballs. Because you will jump up from the chair. You will be laughing on the ground. It is very funny. So it's a parody of the original Star Wars trilogy and others. Parodies Star Trek. It parodies Alien.
Yeah.
The little alien. Green alien. The little green alien.
And even got John Hurt to be in that scene. They got
exactly was awesome. Oh no, not again. It was fabulous. See, you got to see that. You got to see it. You got to see it. Even the Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is awesome.
Oh yeah,
you get that?
Yeah.
Doesn't she get some slippers or something, the princess?
Oh yeah, I think
he gets the red shiny slippers. Okay, and Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a parody on all of those, plus the Star Wars trilogy.
Oh shit! There goes the planet now.
Yeah. What does this red button do? Oh no! It is. I love the. Well, it's more from Airplane. Airplane kind of does this too. Airplane, you know when the doors open for the elevator and the elevator goes up and down?
Yeah.
Well, when you open the doors, it goes shh. It's just so funny. It's phenomenal because it's so crazy. And so like they end up in the I'm gonna tell you just a little bit, things I remember, but everybody's gotta watch this movie. There's a scene where they're in the desert. And by the way, Joan Rivers plays C-3PO. But it's not. It's a girl. It's a girl android.
Yeah.
And Joan Rivers is the voice. And she's very, very they're walking through the desert and she's got two bags. One bag is her clothes, and the other bag they open up. They get rid of, but they open it up, and there's this big, huge hand fryer. It's just gigantic. It's just super, super funny. When I first saw it, to tell you the truth, when I first saw it, and I love the actors and actresses that are in it. When I first saw it, I was like, And I laughed. I thought it was very funny. When I watched it the second time, absolutely funny. And I'm not really sure why, but it is a cult. What I call, what I think what Kyle would call it. It's a cult.
Yeah.
It is a cult classic. It has a following,
Hmm.
a big following. At least at that time, there was a big following. But if you like Star Wars at all, you have to see this. Rick Moranis, Rick Moranis plays, what's it called? His name?
Dark Helmet.
Dark Helmet. Okay, so that's the takeoff on Darth Vader. His helmet is gigantic. It's huge. So when he picks up the thing, you see him in there, and it's like it's huge helmet. It's this big. Oh, one of the famous lines, and I want to ask you some questions about famous lines. May the Schwartz be with you.
Oh yeah.
If you like parody movies at all, you got to see. Got to see these.
Well, the other thing I loved about Spaceballs too is that it not only did it parody the movies, but it also parodied the whole marketing of Star Wars as well. Because throughout the movie, I don't know if you noticed that, like they literally just parody, like, because you know how like when Star Wars came out, like you could buy like anything and it with like the Star Wars name on it. And then Spaceballs just kind of took that to the next level. They're like, all right, we're gonna parody that too. There was like Spaceballs, the bed sheet, Spaceballs, the like just all these like random things, like Spaceballs, the toilet paper, Spaceballs, the um, just
It was everything.
it was just
The
great.
lunchbox. The lunchbox.
Those were, yeah, Spaceballs, the lunchbox, the yogurt action figure, and then and then of course
It was, yeah.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower. The
Yeah,
kids
right.
love this one.
It's very funny. I have seen it again. So I was going to bring up Daphne Sanuga because I wanted to tell. I was telling Kyle during pregame. I was telling Kyle that I have a friend. His name is Milton. And I went to high school with him. And I went over his house one day, and all of a sudden I see this girl up on his wall at his parents' house, and there's like a letter underneath. And I said, wait a minute, I recognize her. And this was after I had seen Spaceballs.
Mm.
She was actually in a movie called The Sure Thing, also with John Cusack, which is, by the way, one of my favorites of all time. It's just a fantastic movie. And I saw it up there, and I was like, Milton, what is this? He said, oh, that's Daphne Sanuga. I said, yeah, I know it's Daphne Sanuga. She's my favorite. I saw her in Sure Thing. She was in Spaceballs. She was on Melrose Place. Why do you have her up? She's my cousin. I'm like, no way. She's not your cousin. Yeah, she is. Check out the letter from her. And all of a sudden, I go and read the letter, and it's a letter from her telling them about, California, how great it is here, and getting roles, and it's really wonderful, and blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God. Turns out that it is true. And I just confirmed it just recently within the last month. Just saw Milton I think it was about a month and a half ago. Confirmed it because we were talking about old times, and he confirmed it. His first cousin is Daphne Sanuga, which is really great, which is really wonderful. So that's my small little story into that. So I actually went online. I can't believe I got this. I actually have some trivia for you really quickly. Some Spaceballs trivia,
Okay.
if you can imagine. It's very funny. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through this without laughing my butt off here. So I'll ask you further. Who played Yogurt in the movie?
Oh,
there was a character named Yogurt.
Yeah, that was Mel Brooks.
That was Mel Brooks. Yes, Mel Brooks played that character. It's very funny.
He had a few roles in the movie actually, because he also played the the head of the Spaceballs Corporation too.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, he actually directed and made the. I'm not sure if he wrote it, but
Oh,
he definitely directed it.
yeah.
It's got his fingerprints on it, so it's possible that he wrote some of
Oh
it, or
yeah,
if not
yeah.
all of it. It's definitely got his fingerprints all over it, but literally. But I have a feeling that he just put himself in the movie because I can put myself in my own movies.
Oh yeah, he did that
Um,
a lot. Same with Robin Hood too. I think he had like a small role in Robin Hood as well, and just yeah.
yes, yes, absolutely. Great comedian. Just wonderful, wonderful comedian. We've already talked about this. Who played Lord Helmet? Um, Obviously, that was Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
We touched upon that. Okay, John Candy plays a creature that is half man, half dog. The creature's name is what?
It's a Mog.
Yes, it is a Mog. Correct.
Mog, I'm my own best friend.
Mog. That's right. That's it's, he was great in that.
Yeah.
The name of John Candy's character was
Barf.
right. Excellent. Dom DeLuise also was in it, just as a voice guy. He voiced the character what? What character did he voice?
Oh, I should know this. He voiced Dom DeLuise. Oh my god. Uh,
Oh, a stumper. No, I can't be. You'll think of it.
um, I actually can't. I can't think of it right now. I should know this though. Like, I feel like if I, um,
It's a parody name. Let's put it that way. That may give
oh,
you
Pizza the Hut.
what?
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut.
That's
Yes,
what it was. Yeah,
Pizza the
it
Hut.
hit me. I'm like, okay.
Yes, no. I gave you a little hint there. I hope you got it right. So it's great. Yeah, that's really all I have on trivia. I just wanted to give a little bit of trivia there on Spaceballs, but everybody's got to watch Spaceballs. Spaceballs is just
Great movie.
fantastic. If you like parody movies, this, and you like space movies, you like Star Wars, you have to watch this because the parody is all over the place. You know what it reminds me of, Kyle? It reminds me of Airplane.
Yeah. Right.
A little, because you have to. I mean, William Shatner was actually in the first Airplane movie. I don't know if you remember that. He was actually he was in his chair, in this Star Trek chair, and he was getting all intense and all crazy, trying to bring the plane in. And it's the guy that's making different things with a napkin. You can make a hat, you can make a brooch. It was just Airplane. I mean, we could do a whole show on parody movies, and we probably should do that.
Oh, yeah, I can get into that. Yeah.
It should probably do that down the road because that would be awesome. But
Yeah.
definitely, and any final thoughts on Spaceballs or anything like that?
No, I love Spaceballs. I mean, that's always been a big staple for me. I think it's definitely one of the best parody movies. Definitely one of the best comedies as well. Just I love it.
It's just I think my mom would probably call it silly, and it is. It is. But it's one of those movies where if it's on TBS, even the commercials, I mean, I would just either rent it, go to Amazon. I'm not sure exactly where it's on. I think it may be on Amazon, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, usually goes on and off that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it may be on Amazon at this point. But even if you have to rent it, I would rent it in a heartbeat, even if it's like $3.99. Rent it, watch it. It is very funny. You will be on the ground. You will laugh a lot during the movie because it is unbelievable. It's really a fantastic movie. That's what I would do. And again, I would go out. I would watch the Star Trek movies in the series. Try to catch the star. And again, TBS, Ovation, somebody's doing it. there's always a weekend where somebody's doing a marathon, and that's what it was.
Hmm.
And I'm sure they're doing it now because we're coming up on Thanksgiving and the holidays, and I guarantee you they'll be out again. So look for them. Look for Star Trek. Look for Star Wars. Definitely see Spaceballs. If you can see Battlestar Galactica, you want a little bit of a laugh. Want to see what my wife saw in Dirk Benedict? Absolutely. Yeah, I would watch that too. But we are at the end of our Marvel at the Movies episode. I want to tell you we are on YouTube. We want you to hit the like. Please hit the like. If you don't like this, and don't hit the like, hit the don't like, but write a comment in. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear what you want to hear, what you want to hear. We want to see your comments. It only makes us better. We want to get better in doing this. And so that's pretty much it for this episode. Do you have any? I hate to bring up the word final thoughts, but do you have any any thoughts that could be final?
So I did want to just throw some before we end the show. I did want to
Yeah, sure.
and I just wanted to end with a couple quick suggestions if you want to kind of expand your space movie repertoire, because Doug went over the hardcore like classic. And,
oh yes, definitely.
Like
definitely,
you went
absolutely.
over like literally the best ones like you could ever think of watching, and I want to throw a couple more in there that I think that are really good. Some of them are, and these ones I feel like are a little more on kind of like the cult underrated side of things. But if you get the chance, definitely check out Stargate, the movie with has Kurt Russell, James Spader. It came out in like the early '90s, and they even made actually a TV series about 10 years after that movie, I think. And so I've heard very good things about the series. I've only seen like the first 2 episodes of it, and I really enjoyed them. I still got to finish it myself, but I've enjoyed the series, and I loved the movie with Kurt Russell. I think it's great. It's a very I love it because of the Egyptian aesthetic too. Like, and a lot of that movie kind of takes place in the desert. Like, I think if you like Star Wars, you would definitely enjoy Stargate as well. It's got that one deals more with like portals and stuff like that, but it's cool. It's got its own vibe.
And that one came out in 1994, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, because I just looked it up. I just looked it up. Yeah, yeah.
no,
It looks really very cool. It's good.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. Like I watched that movie a few times with my roommate who actually showed it to me about, I think it was like last year, the year before, and I just had never gotten around to see it for the longest time, and I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. It was directed by actually Roland Emmerich,
Yep.
who did he does a lot of disaster movies. Like that's his stick, that's his main thing. But I liked his kind of foray into sci-fi. I hope he can do more sci-fi in the future.
Yeah, so the TV series that you're talking about was right after that, 1997 to 2007.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Stargate SG-1.
Yeah.
Is that the one you were talking about?
Okay, so I'm sorry, not 10 years. So literally like 3 years after, or like like 3 or 4 years after the movie.
Yeah. No, I just looked it up. I cheated. I just looked it up.
No, that's cool.
So it's 1997 to 2007 as a TV series. Richard Dean Anderson, Michael Shanks, Stargate SG-1 is the TV series. And I guess they put together another Stargate in 2004 to 2009 as TV series, Stargate Atlantis.
Oh yeah, the yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's with Joe Flanagan and Rachel Luttrell. So I guess there are 3. I don't know if you saw the Atlantis, but you obviously saw the TV series, so that's great.
Yeah, no, just very great if you guys want to kind of go more into like sort of kind of cult classic sci-fi. And the other one I love too, and this was the sad thing about this series was that it was a very short-lived series. And this particular one's called Firefly. And I love this series because it's more of like a space western. And yeah, right? Like you're like, whoa, like like that alone.
Like Clint Eastwood space western, or
yeah, it's like legit.
Excuse me.
And I like it because it kind of harkens back to like the original Star Wars, when like, you know, you kind of have like your bounty hunters, and well, I mean, these people are more they're mercenaries essentially. They're like space mercenaries, and
Gotcha.
they're but they're really cool. And the lead actor Nathan Fillion, he's very very likable. I really love his character, Mal. Sorry, is it Mal or Hal? Hold on, no, Mal. I think
Captain Malcolm.
Captain Mal. Yeah, Captain Malcolm.
Yeah,
Yep.
Captain Malcolm.
I had to remember the name for a second, but
Yeah.
it's a great ensemble show. The actors are fantastic. I think it's also Stephen Baldwin. I think he's the is it Stephen Baldwin.
I think it's
Oh,
Adam.
Adam Baldwin.
Jane
Um,
Cobb.
yeah.
Jane Cobb plays Jane Cobb.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for spotting that one.
Again, I'm cheating slightly. I'm just kind of looking it up here, so giving you
No,
some.
that's good. That's good. It's good to get the kind of the facts right there. Um, but it's a great series, and Summer Glau's in it. She plays Summer Glau. She plays what's the character's name again? I'm trying to remember. It's because like basically the whole series is like it's like these space pirates essentially, or mercenaries, whatever you want to call them. They kind of stumble upon this like precious cargo in the form of this kind of teenage girl and her brother. And that's kind of the mystery. You don't know what they're about, where they're from, but essentially they've agreed to hide them in the ship and everything. And you find out there's that
River Tam.
River Tam. Yes, that's right. That's her character.
That's who she plays. I was scrolling and I went past her, but yeah, that's.
Yeah. And
Ron Glass is in it too.
He is. Yes. Yep.
Different. So Ron Glass, I know from Barney Miller, which is also a '70s TV show.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Ron Glass was in that TV show. Very young Ron Glass.
Oh wow. Yeah.
No beard and it's not gray. So if you ever see Barney Miller, you'll see Ron Glass there, and he is totally looks the same but a little different. But yes, Ron Glass is in there too.
Yeah.
Great.
And it's just got a great cast too. Also, like I got props to Alan Tudyk and Gina Torres. They're fantastic.
Zac Efron's in it too. For those of you who are Zac Efron
in Firefly.
Yeah, plays young Simon.
Oh my god, he must have been a kid. Oh wow, that's crazy. I didn't even pick up on that. That's crazy.
For those of you who are High School Musical fans, Zac Efron is in this TV series.
Wow, I didn't even that went over my head because I never saw High School Musical. But wow, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
Cool.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, it's a great series. So I'll tell you the bad news and the good news of it, though, that Firefly is kind of an incomplete series.
It started in 2002. It looks like it ended in 2003.
Yeah, it only had a one season run essentially, and this was a series that I think could have spanned at least maybe like 3 to 5 seasons altogether. I think that the creator Joss Whedon, who also directed the Avengers, and yeah, I know he's a little bit under fire right now. He's a bit of a controversial figure right now with how he treated Justice League and everything, and all the crazy behind the scenes behind that. But you know what? I still really enjoy Firefly. I think it's a great show, regardless. The thing is, so the bad news, it's an incomplete show. It's only one season. However, there is a movie that came out called Serenity. And Serenity essentially is the series finale that the show never got. And it came out actually a few years after the show ended. So the show ended in 2003. So the movie actually ended up coming out in 2005, and it was funded. It was actually crowdfunded. I think he got a lot of money from the fans that really wanted to finish the story. So he was able to finish the story within a 2-hour movie, and the movie's fantastic too. I love the movie. I think it's one of the best like sci-fi movies I've seen in a while, and it's good. I like it because I like the tone of it. I like the whole kind of space westerny kind of vibe. It's got a lot of great action, but it's also got a lot of really good humor as well, and the banter between like the crew members are just fantastic. And Mal is just like, he's just a great character. I just love him. He's just got a lot of personality. So definitely, if you want to check out another good series too, definitely check out Serenity and Firefly.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for those reviews, Kyle. We certainly want to have those for people that are out there looking for stuff to watch. And believe me, there's a lot of people out there that have 150,000 channels and absolutely nothing to watch. So it's so good to have that. Um, and that we can make it to an episode too. Cable versus streaming. We can make that into
We're doing it.
whole new episode over that. But yes, thank you for those reviews, and we're going to check those out, and everybody check them out. Again, we want you to throw a comment to us. Obviously hit the thumbs up if you like this episode. If you didn't like the episode, don't hit the thumbs up, but tell us why you didn't like it. And we'll try to change it. We always try to get better. And just wanted to mention that obviously Kyle works with another guy, Robbie, with another podcast called On the Couch Talking Sports. So check that out. Those guys go pretty much every week, and they bring up some really great topics, and they have a lot of episodes. So you can, and you don't have to watch it in order. You can watch episode number 2, and you can watch episode number 237. So it's perfectly all right to not watch it in order. Okay.
And also a shout out to this guy over here in his show with that other guy, Robbie, that he just previously mentioned, called The Sports Splits. It's a great show, great series. I've been on a couple episodes myself, and I've had such a great time with the two of them. They have such a great just atmosphere and everything, and the stuff they talk about is just really cool. So if you want kind of like a different alternative kind of like way of how they talk of how to talk about sports and everything, I think these guys got a really solid show about it, and I really, it's great. So, and they have a lot of fantastic guests. Like I can't even fathom like how many amazing guests they have on that show. So I'm not even going to spoil it. Go ahead and check it out. Like we won't be sorry.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kyle. And Kyle, we were graced with your presence for our 100th episode. We were very excited about that. If you don't check out anything, just check out the 100th episode, because it's really fun and it's great and it's crazy and it's wonderful. We just recorded another one last week, and we're recording another one this Thursday. So it'll be out soon. And again, that stuff is available on YouTube, and if you want to try to catch it on Facebook too, but it's also on YouTube. And our show is on YouTube. It's Marvel at the Movies. Click, hit the like, hit that bell, subscribe and hit the bell. We love when you do that. And really, give us an idea of what you guys think of the show, because we really want to know. We've seen some comments before. We're always trying to make the show better. And hey, listen, we had a great time tonight. Looking forward to future episodes where we're going to talk about lots of different stuff. Give us some ideas. We want to hear those ideas too. Shout out to everybody that's out there that's watching. And we had a great time tonight. Kyle, thank you so much. And
no problem. It's been awesome.
We will see you in our next episode of Marvel at the Movies. See you later, guys.